Welcome back to the up and down matches. It's time for Ruin play against Maru and another Terran versus Terran.
Yeah, it's going to be a really cool game right now, I feel.
We have Bunny versus Maru, but I meant Bunny, yeah.
Yeah, Bunny versus Ruin. Bunny in game number 1 was bouncing all over DRG, and now we have him up against Maru, who was successful against Ruin earlier. So we have a match where we will see 2 Terran players, and so far things are looking good for both of them. DRG, the only one who doesn't have a single victory just yet, or has 2 losses after 2 games. Ruin, of course, also not successful in game number 1. But this means that DRG, if he loses another game, will be in Code A next season and won't be able to advance to Code S. That much is already certain.
Yeah, that is true. Nobody can go 0-3 in a 5-player group and survive. It's just impossible.
Yeah, and for Bunny and Ruin, there's like also a bit on the line, of course, because losing the next game will put you in a bit more of a dire situation here. Taking an early 2-0 lead in a group is a very comfortable position to be in. Can drop a match later on and still be completely fine. Bunny looked strong in game number 1.
Yeah, he did, and you know he has to switch matchups right now, whereas Ruin does not. But if Ruin loses to 2 Terrans here, he's going to feel very sad that that's what's occurred, you know, because now he's just had to hope for tiebreakers at that point.
And Bunny has now to show us that he is also strong against Protoss. He showed us a really good first game that he played today. Ruin a bit shaky, but maybe it was all contributed to nerves, and maybe now he can shake them and show us his true skills.
Yeah.
He has to. I mean, if he wants to prevail in this group, he needs to win right now. If you go 0-2, you are with 1 leg in the grave already, so he needs a victory against Bunny. Here at the GSL Up and Downs Group A with Alan Wolf.
Much larger map here. Whirlwind starting to the top right. Our Protoss player down. 0-1 in the group he is.
LGIM Ruin.
Ruin with a loss against Maru, playing his second Protoss versus Terra now. His opponent starts to the bottom left, cross-positioned. It is for CJ Entus.
CJ Entus Bunny.
I was a little bit surprised to see such a smile on his opponent's face, and Bunny looking very serious here. Ruin had a little bit of a grin going on.
Every single time I hear the nickname Bunny, did you guys in the US have the Duracell commercial?
Yes.
With the bunnies?
Yes. They just keep going.
Exactly.
Going.
That's exactly what I have to think about every single time I hear his nickname.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I'm just going to picture him now as the Duracell bunny from now on. Or wait, doesn't know it was Energizer, I guess it was.
Was it Energizer?
Yeah, I think it was.
Really? I thought it was Duracell.
I'm pretty sure it was Energizer.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% sure now. I remember now.
It's not really all that important which brand, I guess.
I guess not, but I hope there's one guy, the guy who actually made the commercial. He really was a big fan of us, and he's watching. He's like, hey, no.
That's always the best thing that happens, right? If you do something, you accomplish something, you create something, you have one thing that happens, and then you watch something official, like a big stream, for example, and it's accredited to someone else, and you're just watching it, and you're like, seriously, guys? Is that really what you're going to say right now? That's the one thing that I achieved in my lifetime, and you're going to take that away from me too? That is so annoying.
Yeah, I know how the feel is.
We have a Nexus first here for Ruin, so he gets the gateway right after that. Whereas we have for Bunny an early gas, and not only, of course, here the barracks, but also the factory that he's building, so he wants to be aggressive. He's not going to be too happy to find that his opponent starts cross-position. This, of course, just increases the time that he needs to cross the map and end up in his opponent's main base.
Yeah. Maru going to send the same scouting pattern as well. Or I keep saying Maru, but I mean to say Bunny. You know, Bunny's such a funny name. I like it a lot, though, as an idea. Especially now that we talked about that Energizer commercial. I'm like, I feel like this joke is just going to keep going and going and going.
Well, we have to find out. I mean, maybe Bunny can keep this momentum going and going
and going, yeah. We'll see. So, you know, you find himself going all the way to Code S.
Hellions are now being built for him, and with the Starport already coming up, we are going to see a Hellion job. He plays this, he actually shows a little bit of mercy. He doesn't go for Hellbats, doesn't go for Widow Mines. He's just playing it a bit more traditional with the Hellion drop in his opponent's base. And Ruin here completes his Cybernetics Core now. So what we'll see from Ruin once again is most likely going to be a bit of an earlier...
Robotics, most likely.
Yeah, thanks. Robotics for the Scout.
I mean, he's just not able to see anything here. Bunny went for gas first, and he's still able to deny a Scout. It's the most important thing you can ever do if you're a Terran going gas first. Oh, that was a mistake.
That was a huge mistake by Bunny. He gets into the main base, but then suddenly stops the SCV, and the Zealot takes a third hit. Usually you can only hit an SCV twice, and Bunny should have been able to scout what's going on here.
By the way, this is such a strange build. He goes for a really fast Forge.
He really likes that fast forge. He used that in the last game already with a little bit of a different timing. I guess you can get away with that if you rely on the Mothership Core here. But he still needs detection. In this game it doesn't really matter all too much, but that would be a huge gamble to completely forego any kind of detection at all.
His pylon placement as main indicates he might make a cannon there.
Maybe, yeah. That's something that he could do.
But, you know, that's still 150 resources you have to spend, and you don't get scouting information this way. So it's a weird build, but it's unique, and it's very special.
He gets the cannon, okay, so that will definitely give him the safety that he needs, and he gets the early upgrade. Kind of like it. He doesn't get scouting information at the bottom left, though, and that's a bit of an issue.
Yeah. And he only makes one cannon, so his main is still a little bit... Obviously, he could keep his units there, but his main is a little bit more exposed in that regard.
Yeah, he's kind of lucky in the regard that we don't have any kind of Widow Mines that come in now. But we have a job with Marines, and those guys could do a good amount of damage here. There are not a lot of gateway units, and suddenly we have the Hellions also moving in right to the natural. But there is already a cannon, but they still will be able to do a lot of damage to the stacked up probes.
Yeah, oh, that could have been a lot better, but he chases the probes away from the cannon. The Marines are joining in as well.
Getting a decent amount of damage done here, and now those Stalkers are very much exposed against Marines and Hellions. The third one moving in.
Yeah, you know, with the Hellion, he just does so much AoE damage, he might actually have to activate the Nexus Cannon.
Yeah, he might have, and he's going to lose a Stalker if he isn't careful, and the Stalker only down to like 1 hit point.
Great boost away there, saves all the units he can fit in the medevac. Gets a concave at bottom ramp, wants to target that Stalker, and he does. Beautifully done.
The Stalkers are still being chased away here, and Ruin has a bit of trouble against his opponent. The cannon really saving his ass.
Yeah, absolutely. If he had skipped that cannon, it would be a dead man right now. At least his probes would be dead robots.
Yeah, but you know, now he has the +1 armor upgrade nearly completed. So in upgrades, he will be very much ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, and don't forget that Maru is... if I do it again, I want you to slap me on the wrist, like, not even lightly.
Okay, awesome.
Bunny will be...
You can't take that back.
I won't take it back. I want you to counter, but he's got a late command center. Bunny does.
Nearly got to that.
Ooh, well, look at this.
Third base at 840. The Terran player also has his third command center. Here comes this +1 attack upgrade. And I really have to say that given a bit more time, these upgrades are going to do so much for Ruin here. Bunny doesn't even have an engineering bay.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He isn't even getting them yet.
Yeah. This is going to be really dangerous once that we have a decent amount of upgrades here for Ruin, who's, by the way, 10 harvests ahead of his opponent, so has a really strong economy here, even though there are now the triple mules with the additional orbital that he's going to complete in just a few seconds. But the Nexus is halfway done. We have the transition into the robotics bay.
Yeah, he's
just preparing for the mid-game, adding the Colossi here. Most likely going to stick with them too.
Yep. Okay. One thing he's missing is the Twilight Council, though. He will have to add that relatively soon so he can get the additional upgrades out.
So what is important for Ruin at this point in time is to make sure that jobs are not going to do too much damage. So what you want to have is a few pylons in positions and try to just not get too much damage done, or that your opponent doesn't get too much damage done with this drop. And we have also the scan ahead, we have the dropship coming in, and Ruin has to defend here. If he does, he will be in a decent spot. He sends the Stalkers now to the top left, but they're a little bit late, and 2 Stalkers are not going to cut it.
Yeah, 2 Stalkers not going to cut it. He's definitely lose the pylon for sure. Stim not being done makes it so that he's not able to do a ton with this, but you know, just getting the pylon itself is annoying.
But as long as he only loses a pylon here, it's going to be fine. Double engineering bay now added in the main base of Bunny. We only have 1 forge so far for Ruin. He's adding the Twilight Council now so that he can access +2/+2 upgrades. And he's already on 1-1. So that is definitely giving him an edge here.
Yep, this probe very much important because he sees a lot. He sees the command center, sees how saturated it is. And in fact, it looks like he's going to get away. Might be intercepted later, but got away for now.
I really like Ruin's position in this game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure by Bunny early on, but now he's in a very good spot. As long as he can defend against these attacks. But the first Colossi is going to be out very soon. Another scan here. Nice, saves the Observer. A second one has to be used by Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny, it does have a very aggressive position with his army, though, and he could decide to try to utilize that. If he doesn't, he may fall further and further behind. Gets his armory on time this game.
Yep.
Had a bit of problems with that, and then the previous one.
+2 attack has been started. Mothership Curse, be careful here. Needs to drop the Photon over. Charge it. There it is. Trying to take down those Marines, but there's the Stim, and they're moving in immediately. Another round of Warpins, and here comes the rest of the Protoss army.
Yeah, he runs away here. He does not want to try to target the Nexus down. Using the Force Fields against Ruin a little bit here, but Bunny gonna have to get this pylon and then lift out, most likely.
Force Fields could have been a little bit better here. He still gets a few Marines, but that is so much energy that he drops on those Force Fields, and 1 Marine per Force Field ratio is not what you're aiming for.
Ooh, does not grab the Colossus, very importantly. Bunny, though, going now into the main base. There is a Warping of Zealots, but that's not going to be enough. You could probably pick off 1 or 2 units here before he gets out.
Yeah, it's more about the Colossus trying to get into a spot, and dealing damage to those Marines already. A Colossus will help him to throw that out. But what we really need is, I'm a bit surprised that he doesn't get the second Forge. He has so much money floating, and a double Forge would do so much for him.
Yeah, I think it may be a mistake that he's just forgotten it.
Because the Terran play is going to catch up.
Yeah, he's already got the armory. He's going to start 2-2 in just a few seconds, and he's got a great amount of production. The one advantage was those upgrades really for Ruin over Bunny here. And uh-oh, Mothership Core exposed once again.
The Mothership Core this time has no chance to survive, and we also don't have enough energy to set another Photon Cannon into action. Harvester is being taken out here, and Ruin is struggling a little bit with the multitasking of his opponent. The Colossus! No.
Yeah, and the Stalkers. He
Uses
doesn't have
all of
Blink.
them. Uh-oh, he's completely falling apart here, Wolf.
Yeah, he killed the medevac in the main, but he's still going to lose so much more.
He has so much trouble just dividing his forces to defend against this. 22 Harvesters killed by Bunny already in this game, and he's still doing more damage.
Yeah, Bunny is just all over it. That 1 Marine is not so lucky, but Ruin lost so much, and he also lost his assimilators over at that base. Well, the only 1 assimilator he had, so that limits his gas income quite significantly.
Range is finally done for Bunny, but just look at the supply difference that we have. It's a 20 supply difference this early in the game. The Terran player still floating a decent amount of money, going into +2/+2 now. And he just taking out those Colossi, that is doing so much for the Terran.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. This is not the best engagement for Bunny, but he's still able to pick up multiple Zealots here and chase the remaining sentries away even.
He needs a few additional medivacs, and he's getting them now with the second starport that he built, so he is able to defend against Colossi with the Vikings and also get the additional medivacs for support and the drop.
You know, right now, Ruin could be on 2-2 instead of just +2 attack if he had that second Forge, and Bunny is catching up very quickly here.
Ruin is trying to stabilize, and he's not out of this game yet, but he could be in a much better position, that much is for sure. He's going into the Templar Archive now to also add Storm Archons, and finally the second Forge is coming into play.
Yeah, much wanted Forge this game. 1 Zealot runs in, not going to get too much done here with the Marauders already chasing, he doesn't even target.
And once again, I want to highlight this, the upgrades are still a little bit better for Ruin, but Bunny is going to catch up, and Ruin could be so much ahead and really capitalizing off this advantage that he had. The early Forge was an investment here, and he tried to get a good, just something out of it. Basically a return of his investment, but the only thing that he had was a bit of a stronger defense against the early aggression of Bunny. If he would have chrono boosted his Forges better and added a second one, he could have tried to hit like a creator-like timing.
Yeah, absolutely possible. Right now, Bunny just has that 30 supply lead, and he is about to use it. His army is much larger. He's going to have a timing with 2-2 hits here. And, I mean, they're going to be dead even on upgrades when that happens. But he's even pulling the SCVs. He knows he wants to hit before Storm.
And he will be able to pull it off, I feel. The timing is just right. He halfway done with the Storm. The High Templars that we have in the game don't even have enough energy just yet. Another job now in the main base doing damage.
He's supply blocked.
Oh god, he can't warp in any additional units. He has the resources, and he's building the double pylon now, about to finish. Additional cannons are being added. He needs to somehow defend his base, but here comes the massive army at the front.
He could just go for the 3rd base, but he wants to end the game now. The SCVs aren't here just yet. There are a few more Force Fields he can use. The Storm is excellent here, but a great split by Bunny.
Forcing the Terra player into the choke point. Another great Storm is moving in, and here come all those Vikings into assault mode. The SCVs are trying to use Go a bit of a meat shield.
Not a lot of medevacs, not any at all.
And no storms available anymore, but does he really need additional storms? If he
That
targets
Archon-
well, he could defend against this, and I think he will.
The Archon is going to help him win this game, and now the SUV is being pushed back, and it looks like he's done it.
In the main base, the Nexus just barely surviving. The Nexus cannon was good for Ruin. And the Protoss player just forcing Bunny back once again. Those Archons doing an amazing... Sorry, the Archons and the Immortals doing an amazing job, especially against the Marauders.
Yep, he's not out of it just yet, but he's certainly in a much better position now, and he will take this Archon out with good micro, but Ruin, he's got 3 bases. He has a pro count of 61 versus 21 SCVs.
The Energizer Terran is finally running out of juice here. Ruin with a really good position right now. He was able to defend against the SCV pool, and the economy for Bunny is really in shatters at this point. He is in such a bad spot. He doesn't have the economy to sustain this, and the lack of medivacs was really his biggest problem in this fight.
Yeah. This is... I mean, the position for Ruin with those storms were great. If he had killed the Temple Archives in the main with that drop, things would have been very different before Storm was done. He had to stem several times too. That did not help him.
But the drop play is still doing a bit of a number.
He's trying.
He's really, I mean, he's doing what he can now, but the supply, of course, is overwhelming in favor of Ruin. But the army supply, just in general, is not as, well, it's still nearly a double.
He's going to try to get this Nexus. He will get the Nexus.
He's getting the Nexus, but at this point, I really think that Ruin should just make sure that he's going to man up and attack and walk to the bottom left to end it.
Right, because as it stands, Bunny's economy is in ruins.
Yeah, he has only 19 SCVs against 56 probes.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have anything here. He's a scan, trying to find out if Ruin's going to keep his whole army there, so maybe he can run in here, but it's just, he's getting nothing done here.
Yeah. Ruin has to take charge now, and Bunny realizing that he is running out of steam here. GG's and leaves the game. So Ruin is on 1-1 now after defeating Bunny. Same score as Bunny and the Terran player. Or the AJM player, actually, it looks like he thought he lost the game. Ruin, don't worry, buddy, you won.
I think Ruin just knows that that was a very, very close game. There were a lot of moments where he could have died.
Yeah, but great play, and look at that.
Yeah, I think he's just so relieved. He just got, like, his adrenaline needs to calm down for a second. Because, you know, losing that game would have made it very, very possible. And
seriously, if you... Okay, there, finally a smile on his face. If you show me those pictures without sound and ask me, okay, who won and who lost that game, I would have said, okay, Ruin lost the second game. But as it is, he's still in the run to get one of the Code S spots. Takes that game with a clutch defense against the push of his opponent with the SCV pull. And the Storm's definitely vital here, and the lack of medivacs just the nail in the coffin for the turn.
Yeah, and that's just how it ended there with those storms. The splitting against that first storm especially, I look at the storm and I'm like, oh, and then like suddenly the storm only really kills like one SUV because he splits into like 4 different directions. But critically, not having the medevacs, having too many Vikings really, which did help block the Zelts a little bit, but it didn't really matter because they didn't actually do any real damage in that fight.
With him taking down 2 of the Colossi earlier on in the game with the pure Bioforce that he didn't need this many Vikings.
Yeah, he could have definitely switched earlier.
He didn't have them. So Ruin wins his second game, and Bunny loses his. They are tied now in the group. Our next game is actually going to be Maru versus Lenok.
And this one will be pretty good. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah. Both players won their first game. Maru won the match against Ruin, and Lenok, of course, with a win over DRG. Both of them find themselves in a 1-0 position. And whoever wins this has a really, really great spot in the group. Will be on 2-0, and therefore has the best chances to advance to Code S this season.
Lenok looking very much more dominant than Maru in the past in the individual leagues, but he fell down to the up and downs, or didn't make it through Code A. Maru was on the same way, not able to quite make it all the way through to getting that straight up Code S spot, but I feel like Lenok is the favorite here. The map is Akalon Waste though, which is a good map for Terran.
Akalon Waste should be a really interesting map for this battle that we have between the two of them. Lenok lost to Byong in the last round of Code A. He played horrible on that day. I mean, that was just one of his days off, I feel, where he for some reason completely fell apart. That was not the Lenok that we were used to, and I feel Byong was also a little bit surprised to find Lenok that week. I'm not quite sure if it was the food or what was wrong with Lenok, but on the last round of Code A in the third round, he did not look his usual self.
Yeah, it's
So now-
definitely not his norm. Yeah.
Now he has to play in the up and downs, and he is facing in his second match Maru Prime, Terran versus Zerg once again. Let's find out who's going to win this game on a kill on waste here at the GSL. The up and downs, Talon Wolf, Lenok versus Maru.